Our fourth category is transportation.
And this first question will go to Masa. How do you plan on providing access to extracurricular activities to those who do not have transportation to and from school?
So I actually love that question because that's a big part of my platform about after-school bus implementation. So a lot of students, I know personally, aren't able to participate in extracurricular activities because they're in the magnet program and they don't have any type of reliable transportation, or they have home issues, any type of issues outside of school, to the point where they can't participate in after-school activities, they can't participate in after-school events. So I would want to, after of course addressing the bus shortage, I would want to implement after-school bus implementation and make sure that all students have access to transportation in order to kind of decrease the opportunity gap, and also give these students the opportunity to use their school opportunities to their full potential.
Thanks, Masa. And Roa?
Yeah, so I think what's super important to realize is as we're meeting with these schools, as we're campaigning, as we're pushing for these things, we're also seeing students who simply are not able to meet with the SMOP candidates, to meet with extracurricular activities and to get involved in their school community because they don't have access to that transportation, because they don't have access to transportation to and from schools outside of their buses. So of course we need to be addressing that. We need to be making sure that there is not only an activity bus, but time allotted within the school day to get involved in extracurricular activities. Some of our students are simply unable to stay after school because they have, circumstances at home that don't allow that, and circumstances at home that need to be valued, and we need to hold empathy for that as well. So it means including time within the day, activity periods, to address that, to make sure that students are able to have every single resource they can to get involved in extracurricular activities and to get involved with other students, to get involved in their passions and grow as a learner and grow as a student. So yes, pushing for activity buses, yes, making sure it's accessible, but also making sure that we provide that within the day as well.
Great responses from both candidates. Our next question is, how will you help to change the shortage in bus drivers and issues that students are experiencing on buses? First up, we have Roa.
Of course, so definitely, with budget allotment and BCPS, we also work to decide how much bus drivers are getting paid. We work with the superintendent to help establish that and to make sure that we have the infrastructure to keep that going, that we have the infrastructure to guarantee that buses are going to and from schools, that it is efficient, and also that students aren't staying at school until for another hour because of the bus shortage. So it means working to increase pay for bus drivers, but also working to increase resources first of all, for bus drivers, for our school buses, so that they are more efficient, so that we're working for better GPS systems, but also so that, in case something like that does happen, we do have a fallback plan. We do have buses that are ready and willing and able to, address those issues, to make sure that students end up home, because a lot of students have, their families work until much later than the school day ends, so they don't have consistent access to that transportation if a bus doesn't come. So making sure that we're addressing those resources and supporting those resources as much as we can.
Thank you. Next up, Masa.
And I definitely agree. I think especially this year, we're having a bus shortage. We're having a lot of technological issues inside buses. Students are arriving to school late. They're staying after school for 30 minutes because their bus driver hasn't arrived. So I think increasing pay is definitely something of the utmost importance, but also addressing the technological issues within buses and making sure that those are up to date. And by increasing pay, obviously increasing those resources and making sure that bus drivers have the most updated technology, we can decrease the bus driver shortage and ensure reliable, safe access to transportation within our public school system.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for your responses.